That needs to be in the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
That right there.
We are now in the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nerd Factor, a library podcast. I'm Brandon.
I'm Cece.
I'm April.
Hi.
Hi.
Glad you guys are still hanging out with us. It's fun.
Well, we assume anyway.
I am completely assuming that you're listening to this. You may not be. And if not,
Ricky will listen.
bye.
She's our #1 fan.
She is. I know, right?
Well, but we can 100% say that anyone that just heard that is also listening.
Well, that
to the podcast.
This is already so metaphysical.
Yeah.
I don't
like
even.
We've got a whole Schrodinger's episode.
What is the sound of one hand clapping inside of Schrodinger's cat's box?
Wow.
I really don't know.
What is it though?
Does it make a sound?
Does it?
I don't know.
I don't think it does.
Oh, wow.
If nobody's listening or watching, then
well,
let's just end there.
And then on that, that's
the
our
shortest
episode
ever.
Shortest episode. Episode? I don't even know.
This is starting out well, guys.
guys,
We're really killing it.
we are. We're doing great.
Gross.
Right in front of your
Please
salad.
Please tell me you did not get that picture.
So we have a guest
We
here.
do.
We
in
do
the
have a
quote
guest
unquote
here.
Studio
Yes.
/ my office in Berea.
We have Ricky
It's
from
Ricky.
the Richmond Register, who is here taking pictures, and she did a brief interview, so you
did.
guys can look for that. That's going to be awesome.
Yep, she's also our good friend.
Yes.
So we were
Yes.
happy she's here. Welcome.
Please
Number one
don't use
fan.
the picture of me going bleh
Right.
after I hit my
Yes,
teeth on the microphone.
Please use any photograph of me that you so choose, especially this one.
He's making a really strange,
Awkward face. You look
frowny
like
face.
you look
kind
like
of.
part of your face froze.
Well, this is what I do.
Yeah, there's just like it's like
You freeze part of your face.
That's my X-Man power, you know? Like some people can fly, some people can run really fast. I can freeze only one small portion, about 25% of my face.
That's some talent.
Does the other part? Wow.
The other parts can move just like a normal face, you
Do
see.
Winking your eye doesn't count.
The lie detector test is going off on
Yeah.
me. Sorry.
So I cannot wink.
Really?
Yeah.
can't?
At all?
Like I don't want to show you because it's
No,
sad.
100%.
Didn't happen, sweetie.
100%.
well, like
have
it
to.
looks like I'm trying to blink. Like
All
I'm
right.
just like, like
Can you do the
it's super hot.
yeah, can you
no,
roll your
no,
tongue?
I
The
can't.
tongue
I
thing?
can't do that at
No?
all. No.
Really?
Yeah.
I hear
Can't
that's
do
genetic.
Any of those like face talent things.
I can wink. I can roll my
Cece
tongue.
has no face
I have
talent.
no
No
face
face
talent
whatsoever.
whatsoever.
Is that why you're on the radio?
Yes.
You have a
I
talentless
have
face.
a talentless face. I have a talentless face for radio. And I'm old. And I am a plain bowl of oats.
You plain bowl of oated Methuselic.
Oh.
Methuselic.
Oh, wow.
Radio-faced.
Yeah.
Awesome human being that I love.
Thanks.
You know what? Though, if you found a Methuselic bowl of oatmeal, like it would be really worth a lot of money, like at this point.
That's
Just
It'll
think
be
about
made
that.
There's
in
no
a-
doubt.
Someone's
In an easy bake oven for 30
Yeah.
years on
Yeah.
top
No,
of
for-
a hill.
How what is it? 600 and
Oh,
no,
yeah,
it's-
Methuselic.
yeah,
So like
692
900
years or
Holy
something. I don't
cow,
remember. It
you're
was
I've already
a lot.
forgotten.
Yeah, that's
I have
intense.
to.
Wasn't it like 10 eclipses, though?
There's 10 eclipses, I think we decided.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like 10
So-
eclipses.
It was close to
2,000?
1,000 years.
So maybe it was like
I've
972
already
or
forgotten.
something.
That's
Well.
so
Yeah.
sad.
Nah, it doesn't matter.
Fans in the comments,
We have so many episodes.
please remind us
Right.
what we said.
So many episodes. We can't keep track
That's
anymore.
me every single day. We had a staff meeting in Richmond yesterday, and I worked the desk, while they were meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And there were things that I have said for people to do that I couldn't remember. So I had to reserve a meeting room. And I was like, wait, how did I tell people to fill out this
Go back and look at
this
your own email.
reservation? Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember a thing.
That's really funny.
People in my past actually have given me the feedback that I have a problem. Like people have said, maybe you should go to the doctor for your memory. Maybe you should take like some ginkgo or something. It's bad.
There's just a lot of
Wow.
stuff in there.
Yeah, there is a thank you. I can't hold it all. Is my answer to
I
that.
have problems with my memory when I get extremely stressed or my
Same.
anxiety gets way too
Yeah,
too high.
yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
life I live.
Yeah.
Right on.
Well, I mean, but seriously, I really do. I had to take medication. No. Oh God. See, I forgot. See, no, there was this medication
Forgot about forgetting.
that I
Don't be
took,
stressed.
and it actually caused memory loss.
Oh man.
Yeah, I had to. I was actually taking it last year, and I was
Seems
like, okay, I'm
counterintuitive.
forgetting things like that I shouldn't be forgetting. So I had to stop taking it because I was like suffering from short-term memory loss.
Can we
Man.
talk
Frequently.
for a second about medication side effects? Just for a second. I know this is nobody's topic.
Okay.
You brought it up. I really would like to say there's a medication for restless leg syndrome that I saw on the television program
Television program. Okay.
some years ago.
Very,
I
very
don't-
specific.
I don't
Right.
remember. Yeah, I don't remember the name of this medication. I don't
Your
remember.
stories.
Yeah,
Watching
right.
your stories.
I was watching my afternoon
Mom.
stories for
Yeah,
sure.
watching Teen
I
Mom.
was watching Teen Mom, and there was this ad for restless leg
Your
syndrome
stories are Teen Mom.
medication.
Star Wars.
All right. It wasn't Star Wars, so I don't remember. One of the side effects for this medication was that it could result in an increased urge to gamble.
What?
I absolutely promise this
That's
is true.
really specific.
That was that's.
I mean, impulse
so
control. I can see
specific.
Right,
loss
right,
of impulse
right, right.
control. I can
They-
see,
they
but
directly
gambling
and
specifically.
specifically said an increase. Because they have this litany of use of this medication may cause you to pee your pants on Sundays at 4:00 after the bells ring, and
But only on Sunday.
Right.
Only on Sunday.
Right.
and an
After
increased
the bells
urge-
ring.
right after
Yeah.
the bells ring. So I thought to myself, like, how that's so specific that, like, why don't they just say use of this medication could result in an increased urge to go down to the pet store and buy 62 hamsters? Like, why is it so specific?
That is odd. That's
Okay.
unusual.
That's all I know. I don't know any more about that.
That is unusual.
It's very strange.
I remember a Robin Williams sketch where he was talking about the side effects of medication and things, and the side effects are all worse than like actually having the disease or disorder or whatever it was that the medication was treating.
Okay.
And I won't quote it because, one, I can't remember all of it. Shock and surprise. And then the other parts of it that I can remember are not appropriate. So,
Just forget it all, April.
yeah.
Well, the brain is a very odd thing.
Yeah,
know?
it is. Very much so.
It's a
Just some truth bomb from truth bombs from Cece.
We did say that we're the Nerd Factor, right? From the Madison County Public Library.
Did we
I know,
say
but we
I
did
remember
now.
that
any
we
of those things?
introduced ourselves, but
Yeah.
I don't remember if
We
we
did.
introduced. See, oh my God, I need some ginkgo.
So, speaking of your brain being full and stress and all that kind of thing,
Okay.
I have a super hilarious topic right
I'm
now.
so
Oh,
stoked.
boy.
Bring
It's
it
really not
on.
funny.
Oh,
No.
okay.
I was gonna say that when you commented this morning, I'm having trouble finding the funny just
Yeah.
I
I am as well.
So many
Yeah,
I mean, it's
things
been
that
a
have
very
happened,
difficult week.
including
Yeah.
Vegas.
We are.
Yeah.
This is October 4th.
It
Yeah.
is.
So
Sunday
is.
morning. It was only a couple days ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a tough week.
For
It
sure.
has. It
Yeah.
really, really has.
So-
So I'm having trouble finding the funny. And
Yeah.
then these two wonderful humans here commented with funny things and definitely made me laugh, especially Cece's comment about how her topic is funny as always.
I'd like
Oh, it's
to.
hilarious this time, guys.
I'd like
I
to-
tell
Oh,
ya.
boy.
I'd like to propose preemptively. This is another mass assumption that we title this episode "Finding the Funny."
Finding
Okay.
the funny? Maybe.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Maybe.
That's not funny.
I don't know. We may have another pork knuckle
That's
moment.
not- I was
later on,
waiting.
so
I was
we'll see.
I was hoping you guys would be like, it's so funny.
Well,
You did not find
and
the
we're
funny
just
in
like,
that moment.
anyway,
Nope. You both were like, yeah, we could maybe do that.
we're so nice. We're like, yeah, Brandon,
Yeah.
yeah.
That sounds.
Shaking my head right
We'll
now.
think about it.
Well, so all the things that have gone on in the past few days, it feels like the past week.
Right.
It's got me thinking about the 24-hour news cycle that we live in.
Oh boy.
And really,
Yeah.
it's interesting that Ricky is in here.
Yeah,
Right?
And I did not
yeah.
even plan it this way.
Yeah.
But I have been feeling very stressed, extremely
Mhm.
anxious,
Mm.
just overwhelmed with a lot of bad, you know?
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, the awful things, that
Yeah.
happened in Vegas, Tom Petty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge
Yeah.
fan.
Me
and,
too.
And we have discussed what fandom does, to people.
Yeah.
So, Tom Petty. Sorry
See
to clear
episode
my
1.
throat in the mic.
It's okay. I just burped, so I moved to the side.
Well, one of you guys has class and the other does not. I'll leave it to our listeners to decide. Who.
So Petty he died on early Tuesday morning, late Monday night.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
found him on Monday.
But they found him, Monday morning. He had some sort of cardiac event.
Right.
He was put on life support. They pulled the plug, and they it came out in the news before the man died that he was dead.
Wow.
Yeah.
And for hours, nobody really knew that he wasn't dead. And then later, it was like, wait, he's actually not dead.
Right.
And then it's like, this is just
Yeah.
ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
it's getting to the point where like even trusted news sources, because CBS is the one that broke this news.
I saw it on NPR.
I saw it on Facebook. Predictable.
Well, I saw it on from NPR on Facebook.
Gotcha, yeah.
So they broke the news because an LAPD source of theirs had told them that Tom Petty, had died. When he in fact did not. So now we have trusted news sources trying to break news before anybody else does.
Yeah.
And now it's like, what do we do at this point when you have, a news source that you think is not going to, break news before it's a certain thing.
Yeah.
No. So on top of that, we have, when Vegas thing happened. So I listen to, the radio every morning. I listen to NPR on my way to work.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
And they have started saying this is a, breaking news story. It will probably change.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But now it's like, do we want the news after we know for sure, or do we want it knowing it's probably going to change?
Right.
I personally want to know once we know for sure, because I want to know the accurate information. But
and then it's like, what is accurate information anymore? I mean, you have all these.
Dude, that's the question. Right
There's
there.
just so many players in
hashtag fake news.
Right.
Yeah,
seriously.
but
Seriously.
yes,
Seriously.
and there's. I didn't have time to read it this morning, but there's a story now about how there was another trusted source, and I forget who it was, that leaked a different name of the Vegas shooter. It was not the Vegas shooter, but leaked this other name to reasonably trusted sources. Of course, they were kind of a slanted media source,
Right.
And this fake name got out there before the real name was out there, and that has happened in every terrible event of the past few years.
Yeah.
Just because we consume it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting. I mean, we've talked about social media and the power of social media, and that's all feeding into this as well, because that's where most of us get our news.
Yeah.
Because
Not me.
Well,
Lie detector says that is a lie.
I haven't been on Facebook 3 times since we began our podcast.
No, not at all.
You're on it right now.
Huh?
But no, it's
Star Wars.
completely true. Part of the reason that I follow NPR and BBC News and things like that is because they are generally across the board thought of as a trusted. Thank you. I was like, the word is gone. Trusted news source.
Right.
And I do also follow the Richmond Register. Just putting that out there.
Totally.
But
Hashtag not fake news.
That's right.
Not even a little bit.
But but because I do follow them, because I'll see a lot of different things on my newsfeed that people are sharing, and I wait to decide whether or not I believe it until I have seen it from someone that I do trust.
Right.
NPR, BBC News. And what I like about following BBC News is that it's far less slanted than anything that we have over here because
it's not here.
Because it's not here.
Yeah,
right.
And that's part of the reason that I follow them. And so then once I've seen it from them, I'm like, okay, this is true.
Right.
You know what my favorite news source is this gentleman called Alex Jones on his program called InfoWars.
We're going to stop right there.
Are you familiar with this person?
I'm familiar with the name.
I'm pretty
but
sure
that's
you're lying.
I am once again.
Okay.
But I do kind of wonder what he would have had to say about Tom Petty's dead and the lizard people killed him.
This episode might end up being called "The Lie Detector Says."
That's very true. I don't really actually have anything else that I should say about that particular news program or that particular person, I suppose. Other than I think that kind of thing, that kind of sensationalist media presence is part of the problem.
Oh, I agree.
I feel strongly.
But what really gets to me, and this is the field that we're in, right? Like we are, information professionals.
Yep.
I'm an information scientist. Like that's
that's
like
awesome.
the actual
Well said.
degree that I have.
That's cool. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, dude.
So what I'm really concerned with right now is it's not just like this exists because nobody wants it. Like that's what people want. Like people want that quick, sensational story.
Yeah.
I don't think people care if it's true or not anymore.
Why do you think that is?
Because if they did, we wouldn't continuously feed the need to have it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that people...
The bottom of your microphone's coming out. You may want to...
Can you hear me? We good? Okay. Can you hear me going off about this?
Yes,
Good.
yes,
No,
we
for
can.
sure, for sure.
No,
I'm on one.
You're
I'm
turning
cheering
red.
You on. I'm
Cece's
cheering
starting
you
to
on.
pound the table.
I'm actually
Together
standing
we
on
are
the table.
stronger,
Oh my God.
and we are stronger together.
Listen here.
Sorry.
All right, so we've got all Churchill over here.
Sorry.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I really do think that, for some reason we want it, and we, you know, we want this hyper sensationalized story to talk about, I guess, or to share, or to be mad about, or
I think it's addictive. That's what I think it's addictive.
Yeah, it
Where I was
is.
going
It
with
is.
this. Like I just said, and you can probably tell because I'm super pumped about this, but it's really stressing me out these days. But I can't stop.
Right on.
Yeah,
right.
no,
I'm
I
like,
know.
oh, I can't stand this whole Facebook thing, and I can't stand all this.
Well, there's something
fake stuff spreading, but here I am, devouring it like anybody else.
Well, there's something gratifying, and this is me speaking from personal experience, right? So I'm not saying any other person, although I do notice it. There's something gratifying about even finding the things that we disagree. So all of this sensationalist stuff, to me, it's very plain that it's a problem. To me, it's very plain that it represents something dark that needs to be recognized, and it's a problem that needs to be solved, right? But I still feel like this sense of like buzzy, excited, like numb, just complaining about it.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? She'd be like, that stupid guy Alex Jones, blah 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 blah. Yeah, did I do him?
No, you didn't.
Oh.
You didn't. I did it. We just did the snack treat fingers.
I was really hoping that I wasn't snack treating about Alex Jones and InfoWars.
No. It's just you were num, so I did snack treat fingers.
Okay, but I get my snack treat finger nums from even being like
consumerist.
I heard
it is.
I heard this thing and I totally disagreed with it because it's like so gross. But I can't wait to go talk about it.
Fire.
And I can't wait to go tell people. I can't wait to post about it on Facebook.
Right.
You know
nuts.
what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure. I definitely have that. For sure. We all do, I think, to some degree.
To some degree. One of the things that I noticed recently that, by recently I mean like within the last 6 months or so, there's been a change. At least I've noticed it more and more and more in the last 6 months, but it may have been just moving more and more gradually towards this. But clickbait titles, but like they're talking. But it's not just that. It's not just clickbait titles, but some of the language, even
do you have an hour?
Even in these other articles that are perfectly legit, but they'll talk about violence.
Oh yeah,
violent language, like so and so eviscerates so and so,
devoured,
or something. I'm like,
devastated.
why?
Yeah,
and that's not
Why?
on like some stupid Facebook page. That's like every single newspaper out there is doing that now.
Yeah.
So let's talk
like
about
the New York Times.
Let's talk about one of the roots of. Let's just talk about for a second.
Like,
clickbait.
do I really want to see someone be eviscerated? No,
Sure.
I really don't.
Let's talk about clickbait. Why do they use this sensationalist language? Why? Let me just ask this direct question. Why do they want our clicks? Do you know the answer for that?
Ricky
yes. does.
Ad revenue.
It
comes
the
down.
The more people see it, the more you can.
Every
the
click.
more you can say,
there's some. I don't understand the mechanics of it, but there's.
I can show you. I can show you on Insights.
Yeah.
There's a
Right.
monetary
Facebook
comeback
Insights,
for these
I
companies.
can show you all of those things.
So then I
the
need
number
to
of people
ask
you reach.
one level deeper. Here's the level we don't generally, in my opinion, we don't generally go to. We say, okay, well, it's money and everybody, blah 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 blah. The level deeper than that, the more social, the problem that's more of like a sociocultural construct is greed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean
Right?
that's the underlying message of all this.
That's the base of the fire, I think. And I spend my time waving my fire extinguisher up at like the flames. Okay, now I'm
the flames.
Together we are stronger, and we are stronger together. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, I was just quoting Clue the movie.
I was quoting The Office.
Right.
Yeah.
Ladies, salesmen and women of southeastern Pennsylvania. Okay.
Brandon, you're such a dork, and I love it.
I love you guys.
Love you too.
BeLessGreedy.com.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, so I was going to look up what the 24-hour news cycle does to our brains.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
But I don't think we even need to look it up because we all feel it.
Oh, I agree.
Like I was, looking through things and I found something from like 2005 and I'm like, oh, that doesn't even scratch the surface of where we are now.
Sure.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
because now we have these little tiny devices that we have
It's constant.
attached to us
They're
at all
s-
times.
and it's so addicting.
It's constant.
Tom, my husband was on Facebook last night, and he was looking at things, and he goes, "I'm getting mad."
Yeah.
He says, "I'm getting mad." I said, "Well, put it away.
Right.
Yeah.
Just close the site, put it in your pocket." He deleted the app off of his phone,
Yeah.
so
I
that
have to
he
do that
has
too.
to intentionally go. And I have done it, and I will admit, I am a Facebook addict. Hello, my name is April.
Hi, April.
And
You are among friends. Let me just
and,
say.
Mhm.
and it's more specifically Facebook, because that's one that almost all of my friends are on. Twitter, I actually just deactivated
Yeah,
my Twitter
I'm not on
account because
Twitter
I never
anymore.
use it.
Yeah.
The only thing I ever did on Twitter was I go on Instagram, I share a picture to Facebook and Twitter,
Yeah.
and that's all I did with it. So I deleted it.
I
was
should
like,
get a
can't-
Twitter account. I have got
Twitter
to stop.
account?
I can't stop quoting The Office today.
You really?
It's a
Wow.
good television
Was it
program.
Woof? Is that what?
Woof. WUPH. Woof. 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 Woof.
I'm
Yeah.
lost. I missed that one.
So, what's the
It's a good-
dude's name?
Ryan.
Ryan. Thank you. I was like BJ Novak.
BJ
That's not
Novak.
his-
Yeah.
He made this thing that you could have one account and you could send something out and it would
Everything.
tweet it, post it on Facebook, send a fax, send an email,
A
call
text,
somebody.
call.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I sent you a woof, and
Yeah.
it's like woof, 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 woof.
Yeah.
And the fax machine's going off, and the phone's ringing, and the
It's
cell
super,
phone's
super funny,
buzzing.
yeah.
I am. Yeah.
Wow.
When you really want to get in touch with somebody.
one last thing about why people do the whole clickbait thing and the ads, that it brings them, or the ad money that it, gets them. So every now and then, the NPR Facebook page will do this thing where they post a story, and it's a fake story, and all that it says is this study shows that majority of people don't read anymore. So then
they just read the
you
headline.
click on the actual story, and the actual story is, and I'm probably ruining this for people, but the
Good.
story
Spoiler
the
alert!
story is that we just put this headline on here. It's not real. We wanted to see who would comment on it based on just the headline and not the actual story that you clicked on.
See, that's
Oh,
great.
wow.
I
I
cannot
appreciate that.
tell you how many people
I wonder
Yeah.
if I fallen for
commented
that.
like,
Sure.
it's so sad that people don't read anymore. Or
Mhm.
people would say, I make a point to read, and
Yeah.
they obviously did not read the story. I mean, it's
Right.
a super, super brilliant thing.
Then I'm sure somebody else on
Wow.
the threads would said, "I hate insert race here." That's what
Oh,
I'm sure.
I hate
I'm
stupid
sure.
redheads.
I know. God, those redheads. They're
Gingers.
terrible.
I mean, nothing.
God,
Nothing.
terrible.
I didn't say anything.
I have red hair, guys.
Right. I was gonna say, as you saw on the video, if you watched it,
as you saw on the video, I have red hair.
One hand clap for April's red hair.
That's right.
Very good.
I'm just not gonna. I'm
Not
just
even
gonna
gonna try.
smack treat finger for April's right here.
Oh, look, I'm doing it.
You are
Hey,
doing
you
it.
got it.
It actually
Get
had
it.
a little bit of sound.
Yours is cute and a little truncated. You look like you was like a lemur.
It's cute and chunky?
Truncated.
Okay. I was
Truncated.
I was gonna say. So that's our episode for the day.
There is
logging out before
a
April kills
massive difference between chunky and truncated. It's very important that everyone knows that.
Brandon.
Brandon. I'm a chunky bowl of soup.
Right.
April, did you eat your Campbell's chunky soup? Did you eat your Campbell's truncated soup?
You are
It's like a
just
little thimble.
Throwing them
full
out
of-
on this podcast.
Wow.
It's important that I just say truncated. Okay.
Brandon is
Sorry,
every man
lie
I know.
detector says. And he about spit his water
That's-
out.
I
Spat
think
it.
it's inconclusive.
The lie detector determines we don't know.
Oh,
Oh,
my.
wow, that's funny. That is very, very funny.
It was a very cute clap, April. That's
Thank
what I was.
you.
That's what I was saying.
Cute.
Thank
And what?
you.
Truncated.
Thank you.
Truncated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Brandon, you want to go to your topic? You have a prop.
Yeah. Do you care? This
No,
is,
not
this
at
is
all.
hold
Out
on,
of
this is
order. What are we
abnormal.
gonna do?
Well, we normally go to me, but that's just because I just generally jump in when there's a pause.
Okay.
But it's not set.
Sure.
You have a prop, and
do
I'm
have a
dying to know
prop.
what it is because I
I
cannot.
didn't see you bring a prop in.
He has a prop.
I do have a prop.
Oh.
So, yes,
You sure do.
Something is
I
framed.
do. I have so here I have a picture frame.
It's a
and
photo of me.
It is. It's a photo of Cece that I took without her knowledge,
Ugh.
because that's not a crime.
Dude, you are really killing it this episode. You're just really.
So Listener, if you've been listening for a minute to this podcast, you might know I have a family. I have a small family.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little girl who's 13 months old, and she's Sati, and her mom's name is Meg.
I'm sure why I just laugh so hard to myself about having a small family.
I have a small family.
A small family of what?
Muskrats living in my basement. What else?
I hear they smell really
A
bad.
small family of muskrats is like 35, though.
Oh,
you know,
jeez.
that's small. So,
Wow.
We
Small family.
my small family and I have gone a few
They're
times.
very small people. You know?
Do this.
Yeah.
There is a I don't
Lego?
even, what is this?
It's a Lego person.
Lego
It's like
person
a
with Mark's
flathead.
face on it.
Flathead.
And
Fat head.
It's like a fat head, but he's about
He's a screwdriver.
2.5 to 3 feet tall.
As
total.
opposed to a Phillips.
Oh, sorry. Here, I moved into the way. Here you go. You can retake your picture.
If you watched the video last week, you might have seen Mark's head randomly on my wall.
His Phillips
Part
head.
of his body is down below the
No,
table.
when I watched that video, I cried laughing at the fact that Mark's head was right there the whole time.
He's just like this benevolent presence, like watching over in so many different ways.
Yes,
our
because
podcast.
he's surrounded
Has a
by
little
Mark.
hat on.
He does have a hat. It's green.
It's so cute.
They will. We'll post a picture.
It looks like the top of a fire hydrant, his hat.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
I've always wondered how that
Oh.
would work on a human head, not a Lego head.
Mark, you're so handsome.
Sorry.
All
I
right,
became
so
unplugged.
Brandon,
No,
you have
man.
a small
I
family
do.
of muskrats.
I have a small family of muskrats, and my 35 muskrats and I went to a portrait studio this past weekend
That was interesting.
to get our autumn photos taken.
I hear muskrats love to fall.
I just hear muskrats love,
They're basic muskrats.
which is why we have 35 of them in our basement.
They also love pumpkin spice lattes.
Yes, they so do. For sure.
I do. Just the image of you hoarding this like small family of muskrats.
Like, do I have like a cardboard box?
No, they
Or
have
like-
like
Just
a
walking
studio
with you.
apartment in the basement.
Yeah.
I'm like the Pied Piper,
It's
like in
just
full on lederhosen with a flute. Go local portrait studio to get some pictures taken.
I don't know if we can get through this.
I'm really hoping.
You are like there are tears.
I'm really hoping that the payout on this picture. Oh my
I
god!
can't wait
I
to
hope,
see.
well, I hope
I know. I am
So
dying.
excited.
I hope it's not anticlimactic. Okay, so here's
It
what
can't
happened.
be.
Our 13-month-old Sati, 13-month-old muskrat.
It's about 13 muskrats.
I thought so too. I'm not gonna lie, I did too. Oh my god!
Our 13-month-old muskrat, Sati, she was having a tough afternoon. So this is something I've learned. I've really never gone to a portrait studio with a young child who's just not having it, right? Just not going to
Box
do
full
it.
of muskrats.
Right, they were
You know
climbing
what? I haven't
everywhere. So,
Guarantee that our listeners haven't either. This is going to be a new experience for all of us.
so
Oh, I just had an idea.
Oh man,
We need to
I
take
wanna hear
pictures. We need to go to a portrait studio and take pictures
with muskrats, that's on the new T-shirt.
like those awkward family photos. We need to find the most awkward
April,
and like recreate them.
I'm really happy you mentioned awkward family photos.
Oh,
Oh,
this is where we're
boy.
going. I see.
Okay.
All right.
I'm really
All
happy
right.
you mentioned that. So, because Sati didn't really do well for her photos, we only got one or two halfway decent ones. The guy decided we didn't go in to do family photos. It was just for her. But he was like, listen,
Like this is already funny.
he felt bad. So he was like, if you guys want some of you three together, he said, I'll give them to you free of charge. So we were like, absolutely, no problem. We all sat. He took a few snaps, and then we went into the other room where we could see, like, and select, like on a screen, you know what I'm talking about? So there were none, exactly zero of me that were good at all. It was glasses glare, and you couldn't even see my eyes. It looked like I was wearing like white like visors. It was terrible. So I said to the guy, "Aw, shucks, is there anything you can do? Can you run a little Photoshop, whatever?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely." So I watched him clone. If you guys, this is my topic is about Photoshop, by the way,
Okay.
and bad Photoshop jobs because I'm holding one. This was free, and I didn't really realize it till we got it home. What he had done though is he He took from Meg's eyes and cloned them onto my glasses.
Why?
And this is the result right here. You get a good look at that.
Brandon.
I look like a dead-eyed moose with like.
Why did he take her eyes?
I don't, because he couldn't find mine because of glasses glare, I guess.
I mean, take your glasses off and get a quick one, and then,
So what you guys can't see is that mine.
Oh,
Okay,
Brandon.
Mark says
And you're
they'll see
wearing the
it.
same shirt.
Yeah, I did that on purpose today. I wore this shirt today so I could.
Oh my
so I could go
God.
like this for you guys.
He's making an incredible face right now.
Oh my God.
So.
Did we get a
wow.
photo of that for the...
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
by
yeah.
all means, yeah, for
No,
sure.
I need you to do that one more
The-
time.
yeah,
no
you need to
problem.
do the face because
Ready?
this is going to go on our on
Wait,
our page.
move the, yeah, okay.
Oh my
Perfect.
God.
So.
Wow. Well,
Yeah,
my
that's
favorite
a lot.
Photoshop works are the ones where, like this guy will troll people as he as they send him pictures and they'll be like, "Can you
I love
move
that
this
guy.
guy? Or
Yeah.
can you do something about the kid in the background? I don't like his face." And so he just like puts the kid's face over both of theirs or something.
For sure.
I love those. Those are hilarious. And then I
Yep.
saw one this week, which was a guy who takes celebrity photos and photoshops himself into them, and they're
Nice.
so
That's great.
good.
Nice.
They're so good. I think my favorite one, Ricky's nodding. Our guest over here in the studio is nodding. She must have seen it too. But there's my favorite one. I think was of Justin Bieber. And he was standing there in
As
his
Ellen
underwear,
DeGeneres?
and he was out on like at a creek or a river or something like that. And so he's standing there, and there's all of this beautiful view in the background. And there in the middle of it is this guy standing there, also in his underwear, wrapped in a towel, like, "I'm freezing. Can we go now?" It's so funny,
Yay.
so funny.
So I think Photoshop is like it's this crazy powerful thing that we can make an image into something that it's completely wasn't, like originally. Like you can take my beautiful, gorgeous, like heartbreaker eyes, like these gorgeous doe. Like
He's
if
got
you
the
guys,
smolder.
If you guys saw my eyes, you'd fall in love with me immediately, like in real life. But in this photograph, I look
It's
like
hard to
Lie
like,
detector
stop
says.
myself.
right, sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
But in this poor photograph, I look like you photoshopped the eyes of a dead
No, Brandon,
moose.
you do have pretty eyes, but I like you, but I don't like you like you.
It's okay. I really, just as a friend, I'm okay. I'm okay to be your friend, April.
kind of a more serious slant on Photoshop. So I read that like in France maybe or somewhere in Europe, there's either a push for or they're already doing this. Anytime they post a photo or publish a photo of a model or actress or whatever,
Mhm.
they are now going to put that this image was photoshopped
Awesome.
or
Oh, nice.
altered or changed in some way.
Before we put that photo on our Facebook page, can we please caption it or like find a way to just can we meme it?
I'm gonna add like 35 muskrats to it.
I was actually going to ask
Please.
if some of our listeners could please replace my small family with 35 small muskrats.
Hey,
in this
Josh Garrett,
photograph.
why don't you
Yeah,
do that?
Josh
Josh
Garrett,
Garrett.
I'm talking to you.
Oh my God. Oh, I think I want to send it to the guy that trolls the pictures
Love it.
and be like,
yeah.
and just send it to him. See what comes back.
Yeah.
If anything,
Love it.
That's
But,
so funny though.
that is hilarious. I mean, honestly though, I will tell you that if you had not pointed it out, I would have thought something was weird about your eyes. But it would have
Brandon,
taken
are
me
you
like,
okay?
Do you guys
been
want to see it
like-
again?
oh, that's
Yeah.
an interesting.
It looks like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Right, right. And I looked like this, and like the knives come out of my eyes.
yeah.
He's been attuned this whole time. Actually, if you guys found that out about me, would you be that surprised
that you were a cartoon. No,
this whole time?
No,
not
I'm
at all.
Judge Doom.
especially after seeing that.
I'm a
Maybe the photo really captured things that we weren't aware
It's
of.
very possible.
I would have thought, wow, that's an interesting expression on your face. It's just interesting. I just tried to replicate it, and I can't even.
No.
I don't think anyone can.
I
except
smile with
Brandon.
my mouth open, and I don't like that either, but I can't stop.
You know, yesterday was the friendiversary of like 7 years of my best friend and I being friends on Facebook. And I was it made a video, and so I was looking through the pictures, and in all of our pictures, I think except 2, we were doing this.
Yeah.
mouth open,
Right.
eyes wide.
Yeah.
Just basically like my picture on the Nerd Factor on our logo. That's basically what I looked like the entire time.
I'm going to
in
Photoshop
all of those.
35.
And we both were doing it in. I think there's like 7 or 9 photos, and all of them but 2 we were doing that.
That's funny.
I'm going to Photoshop 35 muskrats going in and out of your mouth like a GIF.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
interesting.
Snack tree fingers.
Brandon's muskrat family.
That's another T-shirt design.
Brandon's small family
My
of
small
muskrats.
family of muskrats.
That's what we need. Just a T-shirt that's 35 muskrats and just says a small family of muskrats.
Love it.
Just love it.
It's very minimalist. It's
Very
like a
minimalist.
white shirt with black print.
Yes.
I like this
yes.
idea.
Good Lord.
I would buy it at Urban Outfitters for $35.
That'd be cool.
Wow.
Right? Thanks.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, my topic is not. I mean, it might be funny. It might not be. Maybe. But Alfred Hitchcock.
That's hilarious.
Good evening.
That's
Dracula.
more. Yeah, that's Dracula.
Wait, what did he say? He said something.
Said lots of things.
With that lip.
Oh God, I don't know. What did he say? I've completely forgotten. But he had on Alfred Hitchcock Presents. He would do a brief intro to the things, and there was something that
He
he
may
always
have
said, and
said
I've
good
completely
evening.
I'm
blanked.
pretty sure he said good
but
evening.
not
Good
like
evening.
that.
Bet you $5.
Yeah, no, I don't
He didn't
know.
say good evening like
but-
Dracula.
You know, we talked
I'm gonna
about
look it up right now.
I want to tell you good evening. I'm Alfred Hitchcock.
Good Lord. But, you know, we've talked about J.J. Abrams and things, and the reason I bring that up is as a transition is because I may have said that J.J. Abrams is my favorite director, but that is actually not true. I love the things that he creates, and I do love his work, but overall, out of all time, Alfred Hitchcock is probably my favorite director.
Right on. Nice.
Kind of somewhat of a jerk face in his personal life, but I love his work.
I don't know much about his personal life. Why was he a jerk?
He just
Womanizer.
he was a womanizer.
Oh, was he?
Tippy
he-
Hedren's not a fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he would apparently when he was filming Psycho, which is probably his most famous work, when he was filming Psycho, he terrorized the actress who played.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did
What
hear
is
about
her name?
this.
I've completely blanked.
Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. Janet Lee.
Yes. Is
Yeah.
that her name? I don't know. I don't remember.
Good
I need-
evening
I
is
need
what
some
he said, by
ginkgo.
the way.
Okay.
But
Bleh.
I think it is Janet Lee.
But he
Furiously
apparently
looking things up right now.
terrorized her
Mm.
for the shower scene to get the right reactions from her.
It is Janet
And
Lee.
okay, I thought it. I was like, I think it's right, but I don't know because I know Janet Lee from other things, but I
Yeah.
don't remember. But we watched. So with the kids and I, we went back and watched the 39 Steps last night, and my son was like, "This is awesome! This is great!
Nice.
This is old movie from 1935."
Yeah.
And he loved it because it was a spy film. He was like, "This just makes me want to go and, watch James Bond movies the
Nice.
entire time." And so then, interestingly enough, not completely related to Hitchcock, but so we're sitting there watching the kids just get bored halfway through because it's black and white and not flashy things, and there's
Right.
suspense, and so
There's no
they got
CGI.
there's no CGI, so they got bored and went to bed. And so Tom and I are sitting there and we're finishing watching it, and we get to the end, and it's a spy film, and so the whole thing is about they're trying to figure out what the 39 steps are because this specific information is they're trying to take it out of England to give it to someone else, and they never really say specifically who. And so they finally figure out that Mr. Memory, this guy who goes to vaudeville shows and does this trick of reciting all of these different facts that he knows from memory. I'm like, sweetie, I can do that any day. They might not be right, but I can make up all kinds of facts.
Right.
Fake news before
news.
fake news.
Yeah, hashtag fake news. But so they get to the end and they realize that Mr. Memory has the information that they were trying to smuggle out of the country, so they were going to smuggle him out. And so they get to so rather than being found out, they shoot Mr. Memory.
Dude.
And so as he's dying, he recites the fact that he was trying to smuggle out of the country.
That's great.
And so as he's reciting the fact, Tom goes, "That's a Merlin engine." What?
Yeah.
It's a what?
What? So it was a Merlin. It's a Merlin engine, and so it's an airplane engine made by Rolls Royce.
Blast me to
put
Bermuda!
into what?
That's what Merlin says when he gets mad.
Oh, in the Sword in the Stone.
In Disney's The Sword in the Stone.
Okay.
What are you, a wizard? Are you a magician? Are you a wizard?
I'm so glad you know.
But so this equation is Rolls-Royce made these engines called Merlins, and they're actually named after the bird, not the magician.
Oh.
Sure.
And these engines were actually used in Spitfire airplanes in World War II, and actually allowed England to have air superiority in the dogfights and things like that. Since the film was made in 1935, I was like, it's really interesting. But we're sitting there, and he's reciting this equation, and Tom goes, "That's a Merlin engine."
That's cool.
And I just look at him and go, "How do you know that?" He was actually wrong.
Oh.
It was still an airplane
Wow.
engine. It was
Sorry,
for
Tom.
a silent running airplane engine. The reason
Tom.
he remembered,
I
Tom.
know.
Tom,
Tom.
and
He's
your
a
engine
dumb dummy.
incorrectnesses.
No, not.
Dummy.
No, he's actually not, because
Is he a smart smarty?
Because I look at him and I go, "How do you know that?" And he goes, "I'm not just a pretty face." But
It is Don Knotts.
but it is actually an equation for a silent running airplane engine, and the reason he was remembering the Merlin is because it was the most powerful of the time.
It
And
really
so
could
he was-
blast people to Bermuda.
But so I'm sitting there looking it up. I'm like, how did you know that? And I just kept at him, and he goes, "I read."
yeah.
What's
So, considering that this is a library podcast
Headline.
from the Madison County Public Library in Richmond and Berea,
Kentucky, USA.
Kentucky,
Earth.
USA, Earth.
that? Milky Way.
Solar system, Milky
Thank
Way.
you. It was like universe.
Virgo supercluster.
Star Wars.
Come get it. Star Wars.
But, reading can give you information that you will later remember.
What?
And,
That's
shock
crazy
your
talk.
spouse with going, what? What? Yes, the lie detector
Yes.
has, as Ricky just said, the lie detector test has determined that was true.
I think that's the first thing we've actually said today that
That
has
was
been
true?
determined as true.
I think every time we've been
Except
called
for
out,
your
yeah.
family of muskrats.
That's muskrats.
35
That was true.
35.
muskrats. Lots
Yeah.
of love.
How did we get 35? How did that
I
happen?
think it's just a random number that Brandon picked.
Okay.
I think so. I don't remember.
You're pretty good at picking random numbers.
78.
Something's wrong with Cece's microphone. Did you turn it? Oh, it was
Sad.
turned off.
Was it turned off?
The entire time?
Jeez.
Okay.
We're panicking.
Not the entire
we all
time.
panic, and then Mark goes, bah, and everything's fine again.
That's right.
Okay.
That's a real behind the scenes glimpse. Like, it happens at least twice a podcast. One of us goes, and Mark goes, bah, and then we're fine.
What was the sound again?
bah.
It's
Me
kind of
and
like
this
a.
mic today.
It's kind of like a.
We're going
chicken
round and round.
with emphysema or something.
Bah.
Oh.
That's kinda-
Do chickens get emphysema?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. I wonder now.
Just the ones that smoke.
just the ones that smoke heavily.
Waka waka. Yeah, dude.
Wow,
I
you
have
just said a
cracked
joke that got
myself
Brandon
up.
to just kind of look at
That's
you like, really?
That's
That was
great.
like my best dad joke ever.
Only the ones that
We
smoke.
need to do an episode on dad jokes.
We
All right,
we
so
do every episode
before
on
we,
dad jokes.
Yeah, we
Before we
definitely do.
talked, before we started recording, Brandon and I came up with homework for each other.
Yes.
And I think, Cece, we need to figure out some homework for you because you weren't
Oh.
in the room when we did this.
Okay.
Brandon has never heard of a specific documentary that I'm not going to mention, so I keep the topic a surprise. But he is completely unaware of this one documentary or this cult following that this one thing has.
This thing, yeah. We're going
Yeah.
to talk about it next time, I guess.
Oh,
We'll talk
yeah.
about it next time.
Great, yeah.
And so then he has now assigned me homework of a film that I've never seen and don't know anything about.
The
So
best
we need to
thing.
figure something out for you too.
I know nothing
and that's what
about
we should
nothing,
talk
so-
about.
Except
Best
chickens
thing.
actually can get
They can?
emphysema. Yeah.
Stop it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Alex
I
Jones
mean, I
tell you
guess
that?
No,
Bert-
it's Googled it.
Ah,
You try and sell you some supplements.
I'm an information scientist.
I better Google it.
I'm a smart smarty. Look at me. Do you like my mustache? Sorry, that was my Dr. Phil.
Oh, okay. I was like, Cece doesn't have a mustache.
I'm wearing a tie. I'm a gentleman.
It's like, well, I don't need. I'm a
Just
mammal.
depends.
I'm a mammal. I have hair. It happens. Well, I think that we have.
Well, speaking of back to your original topic, Alfred Hitchcock.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
When
I have a
started on
Hitchcockian thing to say also.
So I watched The Birds. I mean, I got like super duper hooked on all his stuff back when I was
yeah.
a kid, and watched The Birds, and it affects me to this day.
Yeah, it's
Maybe that's why I
intense.
don't like flying things because that was my
I
first
do
Hitchcock
not
film,
like
and I was
birds.
like 9.
I don't trust birds. I don't like. Just don't. I don't
No,
like,
I know.
What do
I
you think they're up
completely
there
understand.
like-
You've
I don't
seen
understand
it.
the-
Plotting the
motives.
return of the Soviet Union, or what do you think?
yeah.
Interesting.
Who knows? Who really knows?
Interesting enough, Alfred Hitchcock, which actually got me started on this. What on earth?
I just see birds up in the nest being like, "Dos vidonia, comrade." Like, whenever CC drives by, and then pooping.
Like,
And then pooping right on her car.
Wow.
right.
But what got me started
You almost
on
did
this,
like a spit take at your own
You
joke
did,
in your
yeah.
own head, and then he knocked
Wow.
his face on the microphone because he was laughing
It's because
at the joke in his
of
own
the
head.
Russian pigeons that crapped on your car.
Sure.
What is
in
this-
my
what is
mind.
a Russian? What would a Russian bird be like if you were in a cartoon?
In a big hurry.
What is this? He's dancing, guys. He's dancing.
Russian, like RUSHIN.
No, Russian
apostrophe.
as in RUSSIAN, not Russian.
Dad jokes.
Ladies,
all
ladies.
time.
Oh my God. The dad joke is strong with you.
Oh,
Wow.
my goodness gracious sakes.
Where's
Oh
your
my
like
God.
white Air Maxes?
Yeah, right.
Shorts
Vans.
with- yeah, like socks that come up like not crew
Yeah,
cut. What
like
are the ones that come
Almost
up like
to like your calf
Yeah.
like midway up your
with
calf,
your white
with
true.
Air Maxes
khaki
on.
shorts,
It's very good.
khaki cargo shorts,
I'm at the grill later,
fanny pack.
flipping burgers with my fanny pack.
There you go. But what got me started on this
Corona
was,
Light.
Daphne du Maurier is one of my favorite authors.
Yes.
She and oddly, I didn't realize this, but Alfred Hitchcock actually directed a film adaptation of one of her most famous books, Rebecca.
Yes.
And he wrote it. She wrote it in 1938, and he made the film in 1940.
Sweet.
And so I actually read the book several years ago and loved it. Like I was like, maybe I was even a teenager. I loved it. So I went back and listened to the audiobook, and I couldn't stand it.
Oh.
I couldn't stand it. And the book, it wasn't her writing. It was, again, one of those things. I couldn't stand the character. Could not stand the main character. I was just like, oh my God. You know, if you guys just talked to each other, you wouldn't have any of these problems, and this book would be like 3 pages long.
You develop some intense feelings
I do.
about characters in
I
books.
don't do anything halfway. Everything that I do. Here you go.
If you had a drink, I'd
I have
toast
a
you,
water
my
bottle.
friend.
There we go.
All right.
Clink.
Dulce de doña, comrade.
But I don't. I don't do anything halfway. Anything that I do, I'm like the full force of everything that I am, and my entire personality is right in it too.
Me too.
So yeah,
We share
I've
that.
noticed. I've noticed.
We share that trait.
But which is a great reason to have Cece here, because she keeps us from doing
Because
that.
I just halfway do stuff.
She just does that. In her bowl of oatmeal Methuselah
Yeah.
fashion.
I was like, meh, it's fine. Mediocrity is great.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's what I strive for.
Not what I meant.
I see you like running half of the race and being like, you know what? Cigarettes. Just I like cigarettes
Light
too
on
much.
Oh my God.
That's right.
Cigarettes and pizza.
Oh my God. Bathtub full
Well,
of pizza.
pizza, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Bathtub full of pizza. Oh my God. So anyway, I was listening to this. I couldn't stand the character. But then I realized that Hitchcock had made the adaptation, and he actually won an Oscar for it.
Really?
He did. And so I went back and I actually found the movie and watched it. And then, so I also watched Psycho, because happy month of Halloween.
Yay.
Woo! Yay!
Straight up. Give me all that spooky stuff. Give me all that spooky stuff.
At my house,
Give me all
Halloween
that
started September 1st.
spooky stuff.
What on earth?
Is
that David Pumpkins?
I celebrate Halloween from September 1st until the day after Thanksgiving. That's my
Day
Halloween
after Thanksgiving.
season.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
That's longer than I do.
100%. I'll acknowledge the Christmas
September
season.
1st through Halloween. Usually like November 1st sometimes too. I give
Day
it all
after.
I give it all the way through All Saints Day.
Day after Thanksgiving. I'm cooking that turkey in costume.
We really need to dress up, guys. I have my Halloween costume
I
planned
hate
out.
dressing
I don't
up, though.
I know.
I hate it.
I know you do.
I super hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
I know you do.
Why?
I don't know. I'm just so like resistant. I think that's like the rebellious thing that you all talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone's
Don't
like,
tell me what
"Oh,
I
dress
can't
up."
do.
No,
Right
no,
on, right
I'm not
on.
doing that.
You have to try our bubble tea. No, I do
No,
not.
I don't.
No, I don't. Okay, I get it.
But so I went back and I looked, and last night I realized. So we watched the 39 Steps. The Birds was my first Hitchcock film that I
love The
remember
Birds.
specifically. I remember watching several collections of Alfred Hitchcock Presents with my mom, but I
Also
don't
cool.
remember enough about them because I was, we were watching, like, it was like a marathon thing. So they were all running together, and so so Psycho. I finally watched it. I hadn't seen it. But the Netflix series Bates Motel, I've seen that and I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Have you finished it?
I've not finished it completely. Is it going to be one of those things?
I thought that the first couple seasons and the last season were good. I feel like the story really derailed kind of.
Yeah, the first season was fantastic. The
Yeah.
second season was good.
If they could have just combined the first season with a few episodes of the last, probably would have been good.
Yeah, I'm struggling through whatever season I'm on. It's not season 2.
There's this whole
like
side
3
story
or
that they
4.
just didn't need to have. You know,
Okay.
Norma and Norman were, interesting enough on their own.
Yeah. They definitely were.
Yeah.
So I finally watched that, and I've seen Vertigo. I've seen lots of his films. I've not seen all of them, but I've seen a lot of his films. And my favorite, I just completely blanked on what my favorite one was.
The Birds.
No, I don't think it was.
Star Wars.
Vertigo. Star Wars, directed by Alfred Hitchcock.
I don't know. Anyway, but I realized
Well,
that
we
The
do have like
Birds-
all those here.
The reason I bring up, we do, but the reason I bring up Daphne du Maurier is because he directed 3 adaptations that I know of: Jamaica Inn, Rebecca, and then The Birds was
Yeah,
actually
she wrote The
based on a
Birds,
short
yeah.
story. that she wrote.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
I wonder if they had a love affair.
I
doubt
don't
it.
think so.
I don't know anything. I'm just
I don't believe so.
Speculation here. Okay.
I don't believe so. I actually watched a biopic of her, and I find that highly unlikely.
I'm gonna get a cease and desist
I'm
order
gonna
from the
find it
estate of Alfred
100% unlikely.
Hitchcock.
100% unlikely.
Oh, okay.
I would.
Were they not
agree
even
with it.
contemporaries? I thought they lived at the same time.
No.
Okay.
No, I mean he was also married. I mean, not
Oh,
that
He was married.
Not that
she was married.
Mhm.
But then there's also been a lot of speculation about her sexuality.
I clearly don't know much about these two
Which is why
individuals,
I
but I
was-
like
Yeah.
Hitchcock's movies.
Yeah.
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 But again, like I said, I love his movies. I love his work, and it's really interesting to watch the evolution of not only his directing style. You are so clueless sometimes, Brandon. I love it.
What?
The only Daphne
Not
I know,
getting it.
the only Daphne I know is actually the one from Scooby Doo. So
Oh.
I'm sorry.
All right.
That's who that is.
I had a huge crush
But it's really
on her
interesting
when
to
I was a
watch
kid.
the evolution of not only his directing style, but also the technology
Oh yeah.
as it
Okay.
happened, because he went from making films that were completely black and white and sometimes silent to making North by Northwest,
Yeah,
which
right.
has
Famous
famous chase
plane.
scenes and
Yeah.
the plane going over,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic. And these films are in color and the special effects. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love his work.
Well, now I'm
I
gonna go
absolutely-
watch all those films.
I know, that's what I'm doing. I'm like watching all of them. Like
Yeah.
month of Halloween, it's a good time to watch suspense films.
Some years ago, a friend and I went to see Night of the Living Dead at the
Love
Kentucky.
it.
Yeah, the original Night of the Living Dead at the Kentucky Theater. They did it around Halloween time. It was the end of October. And the Kentucky Theater is one of my favorite places in this. I absolutely love the Kentucky Theater in Lexington because they always do a little something special. Sometimes somebody will play the organ and we'll sing My Old Kentucky Home.
Right.
Aw.
This particular time, they showed a bunch of. It was almost like a featurette. It was like a half an hour before Night of the Living Dead. They showed old movie trailers for
that's
Fun.
cool.
right
Yeah.
for really older horror films.
Uh-huh.
So one of them was the Boris Karloff Frankenstein. We
Uh-huh.
saw the trailer, like the original. I don't know the date. 1930s Hollywood, I think. Anyway,
I don't remember. but
so there's so here comes Hitchcock in this what we perceive to be a trailer, and he walks out, and he's literally taking us on like a 15-minute tour of the Bates Motel. And I remember my friend and I.
Awesome.
That's
It was.
awesome.
He was like, and here's the toilet, in which like he literally showed us the bathroom of the Bates
Well, do you
Motel.
know why that was such a big deal about having the bathroom?
No, I mean, well, the
It
shower
was the
scene,
first
but
time a toilet had
Yeah.
ever been shown on film.
Yeah. And
Get
this
out.
is like
Big deal.
what,
They were more
1960?
Okay.
Like, I
No,
mean,
Psycho was.
it was 60, I feel like, but I'm gonna double check that.
58.
Well, that
or
toilet
something
made
something like that.
that toilet made the 15-minute movie trailer tour.
Yeah, well,
Hitchcock.
it was a big deal because it was the first time
1960.
Okay.
that a toilet had ever been shown on film.
No
kidding.
And like people, like they had more objections to the toilet than the shower scene.
Yeah.
But
Right.
women totally couldn't be called pregnant. They had to be said, "There's a bun in the oven,
That's-
Mac."
I love
With
Lucy.
child. Yeah.
I Love Lucy. That was the first time a woman was with child.
With
on
child.
TV.
Yeah, right.
And they could not say that she was
Yeah.
actually pregnant.
There's a bun in the oven,
They
Mac.
had to say everything but.
Right.
pregnant.
Yeah, I have a friend who, when she was pregnant with her daughter, she was a huge sci-fi fan, and she had read this series before she got pregnant, and then but they always referred to pregnant women as child within, child within, and so when she would talk about her daughter, she'd be like, "So how are you?" I'm great, and child within is great, and so she would. It was
That's so funny.
It was just.
Well, I'll tell you right now. At least that woman's not hysterical. We'd have to do something about that, wouldn't we?
You see here.
You see?
I read an article. Maybe I need to
Listen
research
here, man.
this. Yeah. there's a reason. Do you notice that in many films and serials and newsreels from this era in America, so we're talking about, I guess, from the beginning of recorded speech, so the 1920s and into maybe the 50s, everybody, especially male actors, they all had this cadence. Everything was very pointed and go ahead and make me a cup of coffee, Barbara. This kind of thing.
I have a theory about this. I don't know that it's 100% true, but I have a theory about it.
I've read some things about it, and
Okay.
I need to bolster my research before I say. Maybe I'll talk about it another time.
Okay,
but
I will say what my
yeah,
theory
please,
is. My
please.
theory
People are talking about
is
this.
that it has to do with the film speed. It has to do with the film speed. And so part of the reason is because in order for them to be able to be understood, they had to over-enunciate. Of course, they had a specific type of persona that was, in Hitchcock films, there was the Hitchcock blonde who was in almost all of the films.
Right.
She was wearing clothes that were very fashionable, but also very cold and aloof, and then almost even fetishist with their clothing. And it's in 90% of his movies. And then it was definitely in the 39 Steps. And so all of these characters were very stereotypical, but that was also what they did with a lot of films of the time, not just Hitchcock. But so they had a specific manner of speaking, but I have a theory that the reason that you hear a lot of that is because they had because of the film speed, and then to be able to understand what they were saying, they had to over-enunciate their words, and they had to be very crisp with what they were saying.
That might be a part of it. What I remember from the reading that it was actually like a sociocultural. It was because everybody came over. It's like this Irish Bostonian melting pot thing that happened to it's the way that many Americans spoke. Almost 100 years ago.
It's really interesting to see.
Yeah. I mean, if you think of Audrey and Katharine Hepburn, they have that. It's known as like a upper class accent, I guess.
Yeah, I was thinking of Cary Grant, who is actually from Surrey, and he definitely has that manner of speaking, or had that manner of speaking.
This is your homework.
Yeah.
Can this be Cece's homework?
Yes.
This is your homework. You have to research this junk.
What we're talking, the manner of speaking.
Sounds great.
All right. Topic.
Stuff.
Why they sounded like that.
Why they talk like that.
So why'd they talk like that? You ain't from around here, are you?
Go ahead. Make me a cup of coffee.
You're a local yokel.
Yeah, local yokel.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, thanks, Ricky.
Some folk will
Brought it in
never
there.
eat a skunk, but then again, some folk will, like
there's the
Brandon,
song.
the slack-jawed
song.
yokel.
All right,
that's a
and
good
it is
time to
time.
Yeah. We wound down like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, we really
if I'm being
did.
honest.
Yeah.
Well,
Whatever.
It's a slow
all right.
come
Like I
down.
said, Hitchcock wasn't that funny. Maybe I should have gone second after all.
No way,
Well,
dude.
Like I said,
great.
my topic was hilarious as
Yeah.
always. So
But all right, we'll see you later, guys.
I'm a dead-eyed moose. Bye.
Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think. Respond, comment, etc. Are we still recording? Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, you can now find us on iTunes.
Find us on iTunes.
Yes, you have asked for it, and you can now find us on iTunes. We'll have to-
iTunes.
professional podcast. that we're
yes,
doing.
this incredibly. We are under the comedy section.
iTunes.
You can search the Nerd Factor, and you should be able to find us. Our logo is what we find on there, and
The
our first
three
epi-
are up now.
Yeah, first 3 are up now, and the rest will be up very soon.
So don't be Methuselah, man. Go on iTunes and download us.
Yeah. Okay, we're done. Bye, guys. See you next time.